Hello everyone, welcome to the Crafty Cauldron. This is JoBeth Sexton and today I have a little tutorial for you. The tutorial is making lace covered envelopes my way. Um, it's probably the same way a lot of other people use it. It's not an original idea, but I love making these because they're easy and they can be used in all kinds of things. I am going to also be mentioning BeeBeeCrafts.com. They are the people who they sent me some incredible products to try, and I'm going to be letting you know which ones those are and a few other things about BeeBee Crafts. So here is our example. It is an lace covered envelope and I've sewed around it, and I'm trying a new lighting setup and a little bit of a different camera setup. So let me know what you think. If there's any problems, mention them in the comments below. Also, I will have a link to BeeBee Crafts below so you can go peruse their website. It's really cool, great prices, relatively fast shipping, especially for right now, and all kinds of other great stuff. So let's get started. The way that I've started this is that, I have some book pages. Who doesn't have like a ton of book pages, right? This one I created specifically so it would have a blank on one side and other stuff on the other side. I don't know which one I'm going to use. This one or that one. Oh, I've also got some other things that I want to use too. Let's just start with this simple one first. So what you need is you need book pages or paper. Now the lace that I'm going to be using, this is from BeeBee Craft. It's a really great product. It's a little stiff and it's relatively thin, really easy to handle, and I like it because you can see through it. So if you want to make, for example, if you want to make envelope with papers like these on it, you can see that through the lace. Or if you would like to do other things, use a piece of really nice paper pad paper and put the lace on top of that. I don't know if you can see this. It's green. It has this really cool little pattern on it. So, and it's from a paper pad. If you have like not so desirable paper pad paper, putting the lace over the top of it and adding other embellishments beneath the lace, between the paper and the lace, can also help, let's say, make that not so desirable paper pad paper more attractive and aesthetically pleasing. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to start with something relatively simple. I like to use a doubled book page because it just adds more sturdiness. I'm going to use this one, I think, because, and this is from a dollar store book. It probably has bad words on it, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go overboard in trying to hide those, because it's, let's face it, part of our world. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to tear this down a little bit so it fits on the paper, and I'm just going to glue this down here, and I think I'm going to use another different colored piece of paper here for this one. And I really like doing it this way because it gives it a variety. Now generally, if it's a lace covered envelope, I won't glue it down in a book on a page, in a journal on a page as an embellishment. I will leave it free floating and I will pin it in, clothespin it in, such as that, because if it's got lace all over it, I want you to be able to enjoy that. Lace is pretty. It's for, enjoying. It's lace. Okay, so I need a longer ruler, longer than that 6-inch ruler. So I'm just going to grab this down here, and I'm going to kind of trim this a little. And I don't need to tear the whole thing, I don't suppose, but I think I'm gonna just, and what I'm doing is I'm tearing these smaller than what I need on purpose, because I like to leave a white border around, and that also gives you room to fold your book page. So it's going to look something like, a little bit more room there, something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead, I think I'm going to glue that down like that. And let's see, let's use some, I'm going to use this art glitter glue because it holds really well and it dries relatively fast. Now this is heavier cardstock, so it's going to add a little bit more bulk, but it's also going to be more durable. So when you've got, you know, you've got something that you're going to be creating that's going to be opened and closed a lot, you might want to do it this way regardless of the bulk, simply because it'll last longer. And that's kind of the way that I look at it, because I want people to be able to enjoy, you know, their journals. Journals frequently are made to be handed down as keepsakes and, you know, gifts for, and I'm not adding, you know, gifts for family. I'm not adding a whole lot of glue because this is going to get sewn around. And the reason why it's going to get sewn around is because, purely because the lace is much easier. It's just much easier to attach with stitching than it is with glue. I think it looks a lot better if you're attaching it with stitching. Let's move you over just a teeny. That's okay. It doesn't have to be even. It doesn't have to be all perfect. That's going to be the outside. Oh, I totally missed the hole and got the glue goober on top. That'll teach me to clean my glue tops before I start a video. So if you can see, what I've done here is I have not stitched across here. I left that open. Now, you can leave it that way. You don't have to stitch right there, or you can. Either way is fine. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just fold this in that spot where there is a little space. So we've got that little space right there where there's a fold. And then this little space right here where there's a fold. And yes, the paper is a little bit stiff and tough to fold, but you know what? That doesn't matter. Now, if you'll notice, there's barely enough room here. Barely enough room for my envelope to shut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit of a border. First of all, I want to decide which way I want. This is going to be my top. So I'm going to cut this one here. Just a little bit. And I can't cut straight, but that's okay too, because the lace is going to cover a lot of stuff. And even though it's relatively thin lace, it's going to be okay. Now, okay. Let's see here. Let's just make sure that stays folded. Bone folder will come in handy with that. You can also do it where you don't fold it so evenly, and this doesn't come down as far. As you can see with this one, it looks more envelope-like, where it doesn't come down all the way. It only comes down a little bit, like 2/3 of the way. But I'm going to go ahead and keep on with this one. Now, another thing that I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to go ahead and trim these, and I'm going to take that one, it was here, and I'm just going to bring it over here. Thank you, Gail Augustinelli, for that little tip right there, using your corners to measure the other corners. There we go. Fell right off the table. There we go. So now we've got a little bit more of an envelope looking thing. So now on the outside, excuse my scratchy throat, I'm going to use some glue stick, and this is simply because I want to be able to put the lace down and make sure that it doesn't move. It will show a little bit of shininess through, but it doesn't really matter. And if you're worried about that, you can always use a different glue that isn't so shiny. But because it does, I'm going to try to do it uniformly, at least, you know, in the loose sense of the word. I'm going to put that down before I drop it. Okay, that will do. Now we have our lace. Now what we want to do with the lace is you just want to lay it over, starting with that edge there, and you probably want to go a little past it so you can trim it straight. Make sure that it's laying straight on top of your envelope. And I'm holding the, I don't know if you can see this, I'm holding the lace with my body right here. I'm not going to keep it like that. I'm not going to keep the camera like that because you guys need to see what I'm doing here. So here, this is going to be about like, and really what you want to do is get the lace lined up vertically, because you can always trim this part off. So there we have that. And there's going to be a little waste no matter what you do. But this is also a good type of lace that you can use for snippets. And it does come on this big roll. This is a really cool roll. BeeBee Crafts again. And the price, it comes in a set of 2. You can get, I think, antique white and black. Oh no, white and black, and then antique white and pure white. So that is a really good thing. Okay. So now we have this, and I'm just going to kind of put it down like that. Now in my machine I have purple thread right now. I don't care. Purple thread is fine with me. It's going to make a lovely offset, I think, for the rest of this. So what I'm going to do is I am simply going to sew around the outside, and I think I'm going to use a straight stitch, a wide straight stitch. Not the widest that I have, but a wide one. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this right now while I have you on camera like this. This won't take long. Let me make sure my machine's all set up here. Wide, straight. And here we go. Just make sure that it's sitting there straight, and if you need to reposition it because it's a glue stick, you can do that for a few more minutes than if you had used Fabri-Tac or 3-in-1. Put that there, and turn my envelope, stitch, turn my envelope, and turn. I'm leaving the needle down because I am not changing the stitch. I'm just, if you change the stitch, you need your needles to be up because it'll break the needle. Thank you, Rachel at Roxy Creations, for that tip, because I am not a seamstress. Okay. Okay, so we've gone all the way around. I'm not going to back stitch because there's really not going to be any pressure or anything, any pulling on this. Too much anyway. Not enough that it would matter. So I'm going to trim this part here. Okay. Leave that a little raggedy. If you want to leave it raggedy, you can leave it raggedy. If not, then don't. If you're making a kind of a less refined journal, let's just say, then you can leave it raggedy. It's fine. Now that we have this part done and everything is sewn on that way, what you want to do is you want to sew this bottom part up here so you actually have the envelope pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew here, and then I'm going to sew here, but I'm not going to sew across the bottom here because that will take away from some of the room that we'll have inside that pocket, and I don't want to do that. So hold on just 1 second. And again, I'm using a straight stitch with a wide, like straight wide stitch. And I think I am going to back stitch at the top of this one because of the pull that's going to be on that top of that pocket. down one side. Oops, come on. Okay, and one more stitch up the other side. And again, back stitching on both ends. Now the back stitching is completely optional. You don't have to do that. A lot of people don't. And it, for me, I don't know. I could do it either way. It doesn't matter to me. So we basically have our envelope right here. So let's just trim off these little strings that are hanging. And again, too, you could leave the strings too. I mean, if you really wanted to. It doesn't matter. But the lace is on there now. It's not going anywhere. So we've got that. Trimming this up. And it's okay if you get a little bit of that paper border because ultimately it's not going to matter. Okay, so now we have our basic envelope. See that? I'm going to trim a little bit here. I just think it looks better. There we go. A little bit there. So we have a tiny little border here where the envelope flap doesn't reach. I'm going to put that away. Okay. So now, on this one, we have an eyelet and all of that set into the envelope. And this, the reason why I did that, A, is because it looks really cool, and B, because it helps keep the envelope shut. Now, if you want to, you can add a, let me just pull this out, this little baker's twine. You can add a not so bulky piece of something to tie it with. Let me just see if I can get this through here. And I do recommend using something that is not quite so bulky because of the rest of the bulk that you've got on your envelope. But if you want to do that, you can do this, and then you can use any kind of string you want, and then tie it shut like this. Or you can glue it down, and you can put the string on there and glue it down so the string doesn't fall off, but then, you know, you can still open your envelope and tie it shut. It's up to you. Just different ideas, different ways to do it. I want you guys to run with it, man. See if you tie it down, if that key wasn't in the way. like this, you see, like that. And you don't have to thread it through this way. You can thread it through so it goes the other way, so it comes around the top of this flap, which will hold it better. I just stuck it through there as an example because I don't want to put a string on mine. I just wanted to let you know that, yeah, there's other ways to close this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get down this jumper, this big bite. Sorry, Crocodile. It's Crocodile 2. I don't recommend spending as much as they regularly want because it's fairly expensive, but if you can use a coupon or something, yes. Okay, so you'll kind of want to measure and get an idea of how wide your, where's my little ruler? There it is. You kind of want to measure and get an idea of how wide your flap is at the lowermost portion. And that is, for me, it's about 4 inches. Okay, so 2 inches is going to be my center. Now, you don't have to measure it. You can just eyeball it like, oh, look, it's right by that petal. I'm just going to put my eyelet there. And we got it set. I almost put it in the wrong place. And it's okay if it's a little crooked too, because it's going to add a little bit of, you know, personality. I actually did put that in the wrong place. That's okay too. Now I have a bunch of different eyelets. I have a bunch of different colors, and because of the colors on this, I think I'm going to use this brassy one. But that doesn't matter either because you can use whatever color you want. Put that through there. Change my setting on this. This thing has a lot of little settings. It has a 1/8 hole, a 3/16 hole, and this one up here is a eyelet setter. So you set that, and then you make sure that these are the same color on the inside here. This one's silver, and that one's silver. that tells you that it's going to work they're going to work together seamlessly. And then you put your item inside, make sure that it is sitting on top of that lower portion, and then you just squeeze. And you don't have to squeeze really hard. This thing does most of the work for you. You can actually keep it down on the tabletop and do it that way. Just like push your hand down here, which is great for me because I don't always have the strength to do that by holding it up and squeezing. Okay, so now we've got that. The next thing that I'm going to use is a tiny bit of chain. Now, the chain that I have, I got from, I believe it was Michael's. And it's just a really, or it could have been Hobby Lobby, I'm not sure. It's just a really inexpensive, kind of a tarnished silver look to it. And I only want about 4 or 5 links, because that's all I need, 4 or 5 links. My flush cutters have seen better days. Yes, I know. Let's just try and, there we go. Beautiful. Worked wonderfully. And take that off. We're going to put this away. And while we're in here, let's get a little jump ring too, because we'll need one of those. Okay, so now, I think we'll need 2 jump rings. See, this one has a jump ring here with the key, and then it's got a jump ring here on the back of the chain. And this is a really good way to attach your chain. You can also go all the way through, like get a longer piece of chain and double it, and then have it hanging down. I don't do that because I think it's too much chain. But run with it, go with it. So I'm gonna just put this. I'm gonna move that first. But I'm going to put this link on. And when you bend your links, let me see if I can show you this. When you bend your links, when you open and close your links, you do not want to open them this way. What you want to do is open them that way, because 2 reasons. First of all, it's less stress on the metal. And secondly, if you don't bend it this way to open and close it, then you're going to stress it. It's going to be like impossible to get it back to round. This way, if you open it sideways, it stays pretty round. Now, of course, there are other factors, but okay, so we've got actually a 3-link chain, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it through the back of the eyelet, and then I'm going to open up another jump ring. And oh, you know what? I need to get my key out first. So let's get this key out, and these keys are awesome. These are also from BeeBee Crafts, and they there's a great variety of keys in here. There's those. Sorry about the glare, guys. Like I said, new lighting situation. Got those. These funky little guys. Oh, this one's kind of pretty. I think I'll put that one on my envelope. See, it's got a hole in it already. You know what? No, maybe not, because I want to use as little of the jump rings and things as I can. And then it's got, let's see, what else do we have? Looks like a pumpkin on top of it. Kinda. So look at all the different variety of keys you get, and that's probably not even all of them, but you get a lot of them in here, and they have different selections where you can have different colors of keys and not just silver. So you might, if you're looking for keys to embellish, or if you want to do this project as is, as I'm showing you, you might think about going to beebeecrafts.com and checking them out. Let's see. And it's a little bit bent. Now, metal, of course, these are not, these are base metal. Otherwise, they'd be extraordinarily expensive. But because they're base metal, they're bendable. But when you're bending metal, you always want to warm it up first, because metal can tend to be brittle. So you want to just like put it between your fingers, and once it gets a little bit warm, there we go. Just bend it just a little bit. That hurts my fingers. But you can bend that just a little bit. Let's just do it with this. There we go. Straighten it back out. So now we have a jump ring. This one might not be big enough. I think it will be. Let's open that like this. Okay. Put this through here, top of the key. So your ring is on your key like this. And then you want to put it through the last link. Let's see if I can bring that up and show you. You should be able to see. There's a link sticking through there. Come on, camera, I know you can focus on that. Okay. Oh, there's a link sticking through there, and you want to put your jump ring end through that link. Then you're going to hold on and bend it back into round. Oops, slipped off. There we go. So now what you have is you have a key on your envelope. And it's on the end of that chain. See that? Okay, now what I have in this little box is a really cool little other thing. These are tiny little tassels. And they are all on their own string, which is highly convenient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it there. And a lot of their stuff comes in these crazy cool little storage boxes. I don't have to worry about these getting tangled. I don't have to worry about them getting dirty or gluey or anything. I just put them back in the box and voila, they are safe. So now we've got this ring sticking out the back, and that will fold when you put your envelope flap down. That's going to fold flat. So that's cool. So now we've got this, and the way that you can do this is you can either tie a knot in the end of your string, or you can tie this string around the jump ring. I like to tie this string around a chain link because generally they're put together more seamlessly than a jump ring, especially after you've opened it. It's kind of hard to get it back to where it was. You can do it. It takes a little bit. You can do it if you have the patience. I do it all the time, but I've been making jewelry for 30 years, so for me it's just, that's the way that it is. Also, what you can do is, if you want to, you can put it through the little top of the key where there are no separations, which is a really great idea. For me, I'm going to put it through a chain link simply because I don't want it to have a whole lot of hanging. I don't want it to hang really far. And you can trim that too. But you put it through, drag the whole string through like this. See what we got? Then you open this part up, and you tuck this tassel through that loop, and you've got, I think it's called a lark's head knot. Now see, that's hanging down a little bit further than I would like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to need those probably. I'm going to tie it a little closer to the tassel. How I do that is first I make a loop like this, and then I stick my needle nose pliers through there and grab the other end. If I can grab the knot, that's better because it holds better. But so we're going to grab that. See how I've got the pliers through? Oh, come on. There we go. I've got the pliers through that little loop, and I'm grabbing the string, and then I'm going to just pull the string, hold on to it, pull the string through, and shorten that. Pull it kind of tight so it doesn't come undone. So then now we have an extra knot there, and then we can trim that back. Oops. Boop. There we go. And our tassel is where I want it, more or less. So there you have it. There you have a nice little lace-covered envelope with a key and a tassel for embellishment, which doesn't add a whole lot of bulk to your journal. If you're worried about that, I would say leave the key off. But you can use these keys in other places, like for the book jewelry on the spine and things like that. Now, this isn't going anywhere. The lace isn't going anywhere. Even if it's not totally glued down, I don't know if you can see that. It's not totally glued down. It's still away from the paper back there. It doesn't matter because you've got it sewn down all the way across. If you're worried about it, you can always sew here, here. Oh, look, another string. You can sew it, you know, wherever you want. But you've got to be careful not to sew it shut, okay? If you sew it shut, it's not an envelope anymore. It's just a pretty piece of paper, right? Okay, so there is my lace-covered envelope. And you can make these in any color that you want. If you have coffee stained or Kool-Aid dyed or tea stained paper, it looks great through there. You can use floral book pages with animals on them, anything that you desire, you can use in there. Now, if you're going to paper clip this into a book, I suggest using one of those embellished paper clips where you cover both sides of it so it doesn't have a wire sticking out, because the wire will catch on the lace. So you're going to have to be careful about that. But just think ahead, you know? Think ahead and prepare and figure out how and what you want to do before you actually do it, and you don't have to go, oops, wasted that one. Which I've done 1,000 times. Who hasn't? So, okay, and there you go. If you liked this video, if you want to see more things like this, please like and subscribe. And also, if you feel like it, you can share. You can join our Facebook group where we have it's called the Crafty Cauldron, Coloring and Crafts, because I not only do crafts, but I also do adult coloring books. So I encourage everyone to leave links to their own pages on our Facebook page, and you know, links to tutorial videos, interesting videos, other Facebook pages where they've found interesting things, and just, you know, post what you're working on. Post your new journal. Post a journal you made 5 years ago, your first one, or whatever. If you have a great idea and you've got a tutorial for it, post it. Ask people to subscribe to your channel, because we really, in this crafting community, we really need to support each other. It's important. So there you have that. I will come back with another tutorial. I have some other things planned, and I want you all to have a great day, evening, night, morning, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Peace, love, and remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Make it a crafty, colorful journey. And if you have any questions about this, please post them below in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, okay? So take care, you guys. Be safe. Be kind. Bye-bye.